I walked into my room and stopped cold. My PS5 was gone. The controllers, the headset, everything vanished. It was a Friday afternoon, the sun pouring through my blinds like usual, casting golden stripes across the carpet. Nothing seemed off at first. My backpack hit the floor, I kicked off my sneakers and went straight to my setup, only to find a sad, empty space where my gaming station had lived. I blinked, thinking maybe I was losing it. Maybe my brother took it as a prank? Maybe, but then I saw the sticky note on the wall. I sold it. You're welcome, Mom. The handwriting hit me harder than a slap. I just stood there, jaw clenched, heart thudding in my ears. She actually did it. No warning. No conversation. Just sold it like it was hers. My sanctuary. My hard-earned console.
Gone.
My name is Jaden Miller. I'm 17 years old, and for as long as I can remember, video games weren't just a hobby. They were my escape. While other kids were out partying or making TikToks, I was at home, lost in virtual worlds where I had control, choices, and peace. I didn't come from money. My mom raised me and my older brother, Tyler, mostly on her own after Dad passed when I was 9. She worked long shifts at a nursing home and always acted like her sacrifices gave her the right to dictate our lives. I get it, she was stressed, tired, overwhelmed. But she never saw me. My dad did, though. He was the one who bought me my first console, a dusty old Xbox 360 from a pawn shop. I remember the night he brought it home, how we stayed up until 2 a.m. playing Halo together. He laughed like a kid, eyes sparkling. That was the last time I saw him that happy. When he died, gaming became the only way I could feel close to him. Mom hated that. To her, gaming was a waste of time. What's it gonna teach you? How to fail in real life, she'd say every time she passed by my room. I used to try explaining how I was learning coding through game mods, how some people make careers in esports or design, but she just shook her head. I knew she'd never understand. So I stopped trying. Instead, I got to work. I picked up a part-time job at GameHub, the local retro game store downtown. I stocked shelves, cleaned old cartridges, and spent every penny I earned upgrading my gear, bit by bit, piece by piece. That PS5 wasn't just a machine. It was a monument to my dedication, my grind, my love for something pure. I even saved for my own monitor, keyboard, and ergonomic chair. Every wire was in place. Every sticker intentional. That corner of my room? It was mine.
It was sacred.
And with one careless decision, she erased it all. And the worst part? She didn't even tell me to my face. 3 hours after discovering my console was gone, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just opened my laptop. See, what Mom didn't know, what no one knew, was that I had been quietly building something much bigger than a gaming setup. For the past year, I had been selling custom-designed game mods, emulators, and even refurbished retro consoles on a website I coded myself. It started small, just a few downloads here and there, but eventually, I built a loyal client base. I ran ads, tracked analytics, and reinvested every dollar back into my gear and savings. As of last week, I had $42,867.33 in a business account under my name. So, while she was busy pawning my PS5 for a few $100, I had been negotiating something far more powerful, a deal to purchase GameHub, the very store I worked at. The owner, Mr. Hernandez, was retiring and wanted someone passionate to carry on the store's legacy. I had already signed the preliminary paperwork. So that night, as I sat at the kitchen table across from her, I slid a manila folder toward her without saying a word. She opened it and stared at the top page. Purchase Agreement, GameHub LLC. Her eyes widened. What is this? I leaned back, calm and steady. Just a little something I bought after you sold what was mine. She stared at the document like it was written in another language. This isn't real. You don't have that kind of money. I didn't flinch. I do. And I didn't need your permission. She scoffed and pushed the folder back across the table. Are you kidding me, Jaden? You're 17. You're still a kid. You can't just go buying businesses. I can when I've built something you never cared to see, I said, keeping my voice even. While you were dismissing everything I loved, I was building a future. She stood up, arms folded. Don't talk to me like I'm the enemy. I raised you. I worked myself to the bone to keep this house running. I sold that console because I thought it was the right thing to do. It was rotting your brain. It was mine, I shot back. I bought every part of that setup with money I earned.
You didn't even ask.
You just took. The room filled with silence. I noticed Tyler standing by the hallway, watching. He looked from me to Mom and back again, like he'd just walked into a war zone. You're blowing this out of proportion, she muttered, turning away.
No, Mom.
You've never seen me. Not really, I said. You never asked what I was working on, never cared that I stayed up learning code, or helped the store digitize their inventory. You think just because I wasn't out breaking rules like Tyler that I wasn't doing anything. Tyler frowned. Hey, that's not fair. No. I cut in. What's not fair is that I've been silent while being treated like a joke in this house. Mom grabbed the contract again, flipping through the pages. How did you even do this without anyone knowing? Because I knew if I told you, you'd find a way to ruin it. Her face twisted in disbelief. That's not true. You sold something that meant the world to me without a single conversation. You don't get to decide what matters to me. Not anymore. Her voice rose. I am your mother. I don't need your permission to protect you. And I don't need protection from my own dreams, I replied sharply. Then something unexpected happened. Tyler, who usually backed her up, walked closer to the table.
Mom, he's right.
You went too far. She turned, betrayed. You're taking his side now? I'm not taking sides, he said softly. But I've seen him grind. Jaden didn't just buy a console. He built a business while we were all laughing at him. She shook her head, trembling slightly. I just wanted him to do something real. Something secure. This is real, I said. And it's mine. The next day, I finalized the paperwork with Mr. Hernandez. He handed me the keys with a smile and said, "You're going to bring this place to life, kid." I stood in the center of the dusty, half-stocked game hub, keys in hand, and let out a slow breath. For the first time, I didn't feel like a kid begging for validation. I felt like a creator, a builder, an owner. Back at home, Mom barely spoke to me for days. But I didn't chase her. I had nothing to prove anymore. And when I hung the new sign on the front door, Pixel Haven, built by gamers for gamers, I smiled, knowing the war was over. I had won. Running Pixel Haven wasn't easy at first. I was still a high school senior juggling homework, weekend rushes, and learning how to pay quarterly taxes. But it felt worth it. Every time I turned the key in the shop's front door, flipped on the neon, open sign, and welcomed someone inside, I knew I was walking in the purpose I had built for myself. Gamers from all over town started coming in, some for nostalgia, some just curious. I hosted tournaments, did live streams, and even helped a few younger kids build their own PCs. The place became more than a store, it became a community. I kept the back corner of the shop for myself. I rebuilt my gaming station there, better than ever. Dual monitors, surround sound, the newest VR headset, and yes, a brand new PS5. Fully mine. No one could touch it. A few weeks after opening, Mom came by the store. I was behind the counter, sorting shipment invoices, when the bell above the door jingled. I looked up and saw her standing there, stiff, unsure. She held a small bag and didn't make eye contact. I saw the article in the local paper, she mumbled. Didn't know you were doing all this. I nodded, but didn't say anything right away. She looked around the shop, her eyes pausing on the framed photo of me and Dad, the one I kept by the register. I always thought you were just wasting time, she said, quieter now. I didn't realize you were building something. It was easier not to see, I replied. I didn't say it with malice. Just truth. She looked down. I was scared. After your dad died, I felt like everything was up to me. I thought if I didn't push you, you'd end up lost. I was lost, I said. But gaming helped me find something I could love. And you never asked what that meant to me. You just took it. I know, she said, eyes glistening. And I'm sorry. I really am. She handed me the bag. Inside was a limited edition controller I'd once talked about saving up for. I knew she couldn't afford it easily. I figured maybe you could use a second one. For someone else to play with. I took it gently, nodding. Thanks, Mom. There was a long pause, but it wasn't tense. It was full. A silence where things could breathe again. Do you want to see the studio in the back? I asked. She smiled faintly.
Yeah.
I'd like that. That night, after she left, I sat at the streaming desk and thought about how far I'd come. I could have stayed bitter. I could have cut her off completely. But what's the point of success if you become as harsh as those who doubted you? That weekend, Tyler came by. He brought pizza and offered to help redesign the store's logo. You're kind of an inspiration now, you know that? He said between bites. People talk about you like you're this teenage Steve Jobs. I laughed. I'm just a guy who refused to let someone else write his ending. And that's when I realized, this revenge? It wasn't about hurting anyone. It was about proving that the thing they dismissed, the thing they called foolish or childish, had value. Not just monetary value, but heart,
Discipline.
vision. My revenge was silent, professional, empowered. And the best part? It worked. 6 months later, Pixel Haven wasn't just a store, it had become the spot in town. The walls were now covered in murals painted by local artists. One side had Mario, Sonic, and Lara Croft running toward a neon skyline. The other showed a digital phoenix rising from a controller's ashes. The couch in the tournament area was always full. The kids gathered after school, parents stopped by on weekends, and streamers even started featuring us on their channels. We launched coding workshops on Saturdays, where I taught high schoolers how to build custom games from scratch. One kid, Marcus, reminded me of myself, quiet, observant, always sketching controllers in his notebook. I gave him an old laptop and watched his eyes light up like Christmas. One evening, while closing up, I glanced at the framed quote hanging behind the register. It was something my dad used to say, "Build something no one can take from you." I finally understood what he meant. Tyler now worked with me part-time. He handled marketing and social media, and to be fair, he was actually good at it. The two of us made a solid team, brothers in hustle, not just blood. And Mom? She came by once a week with lunch and new ideas. She didn't pretend to understand every game, but she listened. She helped organize a charity drive for underprivileged kids to get refurbished consoles. It was her way of patching the past, one gesture at a time. I never thought your obsession would turn into something like this, she said one afternoon as she stocked shelves with me. I smiled. It wasn't obsession. It was vision. You just couldn't see it then. She nodded. But I see it now. Forgiveness didn't come all at once. It came in pieces, over shared laughs, silent apologies, and the simple act of showing up. And I realized, healing doesn't erase the wound, but it does give you the strength to move past it. On the day we celebrated our 6-month anniversary, the store was packed. A local news crew came to cover our growth story. I wore a blazer over my favorite retro tee, and we cut a ribbon for the new extension, a community gaming lounge with free PCs for kids who couldn't afford their own. After the event, I sat on the front step as the sky turned soft and golden. The hum of joy still echoed inside. That's when Marcus came out, holding a sketchbook. "Mr. Jaden," he said shyly, "I drew something for you." I opened the book and saw a picture of Pixel Haven, with me standing in front, surrounded by kids, stars, and smiling pixelated characters. Above it, in bold crayon letters, it read, "The kid who bought the game store." My throat tightened. This right here was the legacy I wanted. Not revenge, not ego, but impact. The kind that lasts long after the last game is played. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I leaned back and took a deep breath. The shop glowed behind me, full of life, purpose, and possibility. My mom once sold my console, but in doing so, she unknowingly handed me the key to my destiny.